Today we're going to take a look at the Splatana wiper and what appears to be called the Splatana stamper. Let's get into this. Today we're going to take a look at Splatanas, these new class of weapons. The Splatana wiper, for instance. Obviously, as you can see, it's got some range and charge move, so that's cool, right? And it's great for close-up combat, so that helps. Surprise attacks. Excellent move. Alright. The Splatana is a very interesting weapon. Now, its close combat ability looks to be pretty good. I mean, if you can get up close enough. Now, I wouldn't recommend going up against a blaster with something like this, because, that's a bad idea. But if you can get one of the other weapons, like say a charger up close with one of these, that would be helpful to your team in the long run. And honestly, this is a great weapon, as far as close combat versatility, because that certainly helps the meta. Because, most stuff you gotta stay at a distance, unless you're like a roller player, right? Or a brush. Unless you're like a roller or a brush, you gotta stay at a distance. So adding another up close and personal weapon to the Splatoon series is a great idea. So Splatanas are a good option. Now, on another note, we do have another interesting and funny little tidbit. Splatanas look like windshield wipers. No, I'm serious. Look at this picture, the Splatana, and then this picture of windshield wipers. They are clearly very similar. Honestly, it's rather amusing. How can you not see that? It's like you're fighting with a windshield wiper. Running around with a windshield wiper pitting things is hilarious. But on another note, let's talk about the other one. The one we don't know as much about, that according to Twitter appears to be called the Splatana stamper. Quite possibly. And I know a lot of people have been saying, oh, it's a chainsaw! Chainsaw! Well, yes, it does look like a chainsaw, but it is not a chainsaw, as this picture will attest. You see the Splatana stamper on one side, and a stamping device that looks remarkably similar on the other side. It's clearly what the Splatana stamper was based on. It's obvious that the Splatana stamper was based on this stamping device and not a chainsaw. But, on another note, the Splatana stamper, according to a really, really short little clip on Splatoon JP Twitter that I don't have to show you, but I can say, according to this clip, it does appear to be pretty good at almost one-shotting opponents. Quite possibly. So this could be a possibly, very close to one-shot type of thing. You know what I mean? Maybe one slash afterward. Almost one-shotting type of thing. Which could be very helpful if dealing with tricky opponents. You back him into a corner, charge him, and then tiny little slash after. There you go. Wham, bam, boom. Right? Almost one-shotting your opponents. Now, this is an interesting idea. Now, the Splatana wiper, of course, not as, one-shot, splat type of material, but, look at the Splatana wiper. Come on. Does this look like a one-shot kind of material? No. But look at this one, the Splatana stamper. quote unquote, does look like one-shot material. I mean, maybe one little slash afterwards, but you could pretty much darn near one-shot people with this thing. I mean, Splatana wipers are honestly, they seem to be bulkier than the Splatana wiper, right? Because, the Splatana stampers look bigger, so that is an interesting little side note. And since they're bigger, it might actually be the case that the Splatana wiper takes longer to take someone out than, say, the Splatana stamper, because the Splatana stamper is bigger, right? The Splatana wiper is smaller, so yeah, since it's bigger than the Splatana stamper, the Splatana since it's bigger than the Splatana wiper, then obviously the Splatana stamper is going to have an easier time one-shot taking out someone. But that is just me. I do apologize for repeating things. I really can't help it. I'm autistic. I mean, what can you do? Right? But enough about the autism, and back onto the subject here. The Splatana class in general is quite interesting because this could be very interesting for things like Rainmaker. Now, I'm not sure how this would fare on things like tower control, for instance, but things like, splat zones or Rainmaker, I can see the Splatana class of weapons being very helpful in things like Rainmaker or splat zones, but in things like tower control and clam blitz, I'm kind of unsure about. I mean, you might be able to get, an easier time in clam blitz with these things, but definitely not in tower control. I just don't see how that could be helpful in tower control personally. I mean, the bow might be more helpful in tower control because, it's a small area and it'll be easier to hit people in that small area with the bow, right? Because they have to stay on the tower and the tower's small, so it'll be easier to hit them with the bow there. But that's just me. I mean, the bow would be more useful in tower control than the Splatana class, in my opinion. But let me know your opinion. Let me know your opinions in the comments. I mean, I would love to hear your opinions about the matter. On another note, let us talk a little bit about how useful these would be in, say, I don't know, Rainmaker. I mean, if you think about it, you could have a bunch of people. I mean, you could have like a couple of people with the Splatana class of weapon guarding the pedestal or pedestals, because as we speculated before, in Splatoon 3, we might have more than one pedestal to go to, supposedly. So, if that's the case, you could have one person with a Splatana class weapon guarding one pedestal, and one person with the Splatana class weapon guarding another, and then they could charge whoever has the Rainmaker head on, and the Rainmaker can't really do too much unless it's already got a shot charged. I mean, the Rainmaker is basically KO'd. So that would be a good strategy, right? Or just have one Splatana class weapon and the rest of them being other types, and then you sort of back up the Splatana weapon as they charge the opposing team going for the pedestals. So while they're dealing with the up-close Splatana stuff, they're also having to worry about the, more distance-related weapons, like, say, the Splattershot Pro or, like, the bow, and they have to worry about those too, and they're like, oh shoot, and they gotta retreat, allowing you to actually have an easier time taking the Rainmaker from them, because they gotta focus on retreating instead of splatting for a moment, giving you that moment to charge them and take them out, and take the Rainmaker and go from there. But that's just me. I mean, the other one where the Splatana weapon class is guarding, and they can take it out themselves. I mean, that's a bit risky, but I mean, if you're good enough with a Splatana class weapon, it could be possible. But that is just me. I mean, personally, I would recommend the Splatana Stamper for a situation like that, but that's just me. But on another note, let me know your opinions in the comments of this sort of weapon. I'd love to hear your input. And honestly, I'm kind of curious how this will work, in Splatoon 3. I mean, how exactly will the special and sub be? I mean, what exactly are the special and the sub weapons? And how will you be able to use them in your strategy with the Splatana class weapons? And how will the sub and specials differ between each weapon in the Splatana class? And how useful will they be with each respective weapon? That is a fair question, but it is also a debate for another video when we have more information on the subject. Now, let me ask you something. If you like this video, would you consider subscribing? It really helps me out, and I would really appreciate the gesture. And trust me, I'll do my best to make you not regret it. Just, please be nice in the comments. I really don't appreciate rude comments. They don't help anybody, and it just creates problems. But that's just me. So be nice in the comments if you do subscribe, and make sure to like, comment. Make sure to like and comment. And who knows, I may respond to some of those comments. You never know. But like I said, just be sure that if you do, make sure the comments are nice and you don't harass people or anything, because I really don't want to see people just being totally rude in the comments. That would be very depressing. But, that's just me. I really hate to see people being bullied, right? That's a bad idea. So don't be mean in the comments, please. If you do subscribe, be nice in the comments, please. And subscribe if you like this video and want to see more. It really helps me out, and I really appreciate the gesture. Anyway, that's it for this video. See you in the next one.